Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to We Matter, your self care partner. As a mental well being platform, we aim to bring conversations for you that enlighten and educate you, provide you with a new perspective, and encourage you to focus on your own health and then cater to those around you. Without further delay, I will now invite my co host Musarrat to introduce our lovely guest for today. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam. We're very excited to have Madam Fauzia Nasreen with us on board. And good morning, all. Romana, thanks for introducing us and connecting us. We are a team of volunteers working together to make We Matter an effective platform. And we welcome you, Madam Fauzia Nasreen. How are you?
Fine, perfectly all right. And I think it's a real pleasure interacting with the team of eMatter. I have seen your podcasts in the past, and they are very interesting and very enlightening as well. So, thank you for giving me this opportunity, and lovely to hear your voices.
And we are so honored that you have taken time out for us because we are just trying to put people who matter really in life and people who do not need acknowledgement through medals, but I think they are doing their best in building communities. Nationally, internationally, you must have gone through few of our episodes where you must have heard Dr. Graham Ranger, Dr. Sadruddin Pradhan, and locally we had Dr. Zik with us. So all these intellectuals and educationists and thinkers and intellectuals, they are making our way, very fruitful for our audience. So today we are going to start with just a little bit of introduction that I may, Madam Fauzia Nasreen, for you put in front of my audience. We are honored to welcome Madam Fauzia Nasreen, a career diplomat with experience spanning to 37 years. Her journey as a woman has been nothing short of inspiring. With her unique experience of joining the Foreign Service of Pakistan, we're hardly few venture to enter in that time and area. So let's dive into conversation with Madam Fauzia Nasreen. Her Excellency, if I may call her, and her ears must have been, used to of hearing it a lot. And so during your journey and as a diplomat, how would you share your experience being a woman at a very strong position and coming from a country which didn't have that much, which didn't give so much empowerment at that time. So, how would you share your start, madam?
Well, it's a very interesting question, and it is linked or connected with the changes that have occurred in the society. I know that when I took my CSS exam, at that time, first of all, foreign service was not open to women. While I was being selected, what happened was we had administrative reforms in Pakistan, and then foreign service was made open to women. And this is how, of course, I got into the foreign service. But having said this, I think the society at that time was pretty emancipated, though we did not have experience of sending young women on for foreign studies or for foreign assignments as we have now today. I think today young girls are venturing out for education, for work, and for different things. So it has become more or less a kind of a normal thing now. But at that time, it wasn't. So, of course, being away from Pakistan, living all by yourself and getting adjusted to the environment where basically all your colleagues were men, I think this was something unique as far as I'm concerned, and it provided me a great strength of character to overcome the difficulties or problems that I faced subsequently. So I think from that point of view, my journey started when the society was more open and emancipated, and slowly and gradually, of course, there was an erosion. And then women tried to find their own strength and place within different services. So, this is how I think I can basically very briefly tell you about the challenges that one has faced in life.
If I may ask you that, how do you take empowerment, and why do you think empowered women, empowered female, or empowered individuals matter in the corridors of policy making, and how much you have seen it in practice?
Well, I think empowerment is connected with your ability to be able to voice your own views, to be able to take part in the decision making, to be able to play leadership roles. I think this is what empowerment would mean. Unless and until women become part of the decision making process and policy making process, I think their empowerment is not fully achieved. It is important for the simple reason that with their position, with their empowerment, the kind of role that they play, I think it becomes important for other women not only to emulate but benefit from the initiatives that these women take in those very important and prominent positions. So, empowerment would mean basically participating in the decision making process, essentially taking part in the discussions on important societal and national issues, and to be able to make some meaningful contribution using their position of strength for those who probably are not in those position of authority or power. So I think this is basically what it means as far as I'm concerned. Empowerment is not just for the sake of being vocal everywhere, but I think it's important to bring about a constructive and meaningful change using your authority and using your the position that has been given to you. So for me, this is what empowerment is. And it starts from the grassroots level. If you have
Yes,
actors at the grassroots level who have the natural ability to be able to play that kind of a role, I think they can galvanize the community for constructive change. So it's not at the highest levels or echelons of the government or society. It it can be from grassroots level, and you can have at the mid level also women who basically have inherent quality to be able to contribute in getting the community, women and men in general, I think to take decisions on community matters, which obviously brings about a change in the way the people live, in the way they interact with each other, in the way they behave with each other. So I think empowerment is not restricted to one particular segment of society.
great. That's lovely. And I would just like to know, because we have done some episodes on institutional frameworks, but how and what do you think that governments and institutions, how significant their role is in making a meaningful inclusion of women in the role of leadership?
I think institutions, government policies, and the governance aspect of empowerment of women, I think it plays a key role, a central role. The way the institutions are structured, the way their policies are evolved, the way they encourage women to become active participants in the working of different institutions. Their recognition as contributors, highlighting their achievements, projecting what they do and where they stand. I think these are very important things for showing the society and the world that the institutions are supportive of the role of women, and there are positive policies that are being made, and measures are being taken to encourage them to come out and participate in every activity of life. But having said this, I think women themselves also are
Yes.
asserting
Yeah.
for space and for position in the
Yeah.
institutions, in the society. So it's a kind of a two-way thing where the institutions play their own role, but women also are increasingly becoming more and more aware of their position in society and how they should be acknowledged and their position should be recognized by the institutions and by people who work with them. I think it is from both sides, the institutions and the women themselves. So
Great.
both have to play a role.
Great. So before I ask Romana, one last question on our first segment, Madam Fauzia. What were some of the early challenges that you faced? Because thinking from that perspective, that time and era, and now standing uh, today, and you have been to countries, the developing countries, and you have been appointed in the developed countries as well. So what were the early challenges that you faced as a diplomat, and how empowered were you when you left your last assignment?
Well, I think when first of all, when I joined a foreign service, this was
Yes.
basically a kind of a unique experience having a female diplomat, a regular female diplomat. There had been political appointments in the past, but
Yes.
obviously they belong to a different society as well.
Yes.
Uh, I think probably when I joined the service, it was a kind of an experience where women were being uh, allowed to participate in different discussions on policy and security issues.
Mhm.
But slowly and gradually that changed. The problem that I confronted was not related to interpersonal relationship, but I think slowly as the institution underwent some sort of a change. So in the developing, I think my postings have been pretty diverse in the sense that
Yes.
I've served in the Far East. I've served in Iran, which is our region, and I've
Yes.
served in Nepal, which is South
Yes.
Asia. Then I've served in Europe, and then of course Australia. So these are all very different regions, and I think it's the diversity of cultures, the people themselves. I think the way they perceive themselves within the global order and their culture also, that enriched my experience. As a matter of fact, you learn to accept diversity in local cultures, diversity insofar as your outlook is concerned and their outlook is concerned. So it makes you a much more empathetic person. So you try to relate to people, their problems, countries, their problems, their issues, and understand those problems from their point of view, and then to be able to form a kind of an opinion or a judgment that can be helpful in bridging gaps and differences and bringing the countries together in building mutually acceptable, mutually cooperative positions, or let's say perspectives or outlook. I think that then leads to peace and security and development at the global level. If this
Yes.
kind of a perspective is developed, this kind of a mutual understanding is developed, then I think it graduates upwards and and then brings about some sort of positive change or understanding at the global level.
My question to you, why do you think the equal participation of women in diplomacy is essential for achieving, sustainable development, peace, and democracy?
Well, I think equal representation of women is extremely important in diplomacy, and diplomacy is just not restricted to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs or to the traditional concept of diplomats. I think diplomacy is conducted at different levels. So women participation in diplomatic endeavors and assignments is extremely important because they could be representing on different issues, like for example on climate change, on sustainable development goals. So they can be from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. They may not be from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Having said this, I think equal representation in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in the diplomatic assignments or diplomacy as such is important for the simple reason that in the last few decades, the world has undergone a complete transformation and change. There are
True.
there are issues, there are subjects which have emerged as very significant in the context of overall development, security, and peace. They have become interlinked. For example, if you look at climate change or poverty or hunger or food insecurity, agriculture, development, all these things have a bearing on the security environment in the sense that these issues, if not handled properly, can lead to conflict, can can lead to changes, displacements, migration, and all that has a bearing on harmony within societies and harmony within a country. So I think women constitute, in any case, as we all keep on saying this, and more than
Ji.
50% of the world population. So, for the simple reason that they constitute a big majority, their strength and talent should be utilized in promoting uh, conflict prevention, in promoting peace building, and in promoting basically um, stability, social stability, creating an environment where they can play a role in harnessing the values that exist within certain communities and societies. So I think this is one basically reason why equal representation is important. And
Ji.
the second point that I would like to emphasize is that there are multiple challenges that the world is confronting. And in order to deal with those multiple challenges, you need more, a diverse perspective, more strength, more hands, more brains to be able to come together and try and address those issues. I think they have a special talent in understanding and empathizing, and also they can manage human relations in a better way because that's
True.
a natural
Ji.
talent that they possess, and they
Ji.
have instinctively this kind of an understanding where they can deal comfortably and more minimally the interpersonal relationships within a community or within a society. So I think from that point of view also, the more the merrier, the more women
Ji.
you have in different areas performing diplomatic roles and within the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. I think it will have a positive effect on development, sustainable development, as you know, all the 17 sustainable development goals lay due emphasis on the role of women. So I
Yes.
think there is a realization, and that realization is translating into positive recommendations and target setting insofar as participation of women is concerned. So equal representation in diplomacy is something which is going to be in line with the general international trend and global kind of development that is taking place.
True,
So one
definitely. Well explained.
One small question or query for myself, like as you have mentioned, the role of women is important, I think, in conflict resolution, in peace building, and social inclusion. Um, and we should have more women in sitting in diplomatic corridors or, heading for diplomatic missions. But do you think, Madam Fauzia, that women are or women diplomacy is taken seriously by I'm sorry to say, but I don't want to be gender biased, but people or men holding the positions at a stronger level. So, where do you think that does does it really matter that how good a woman perform as a diplomat, but they are hardly taken seriously?
Women have to prove their
They were, yeah,
worth, and
yes,
it has become it is generally recognized that they have to work twice as hard as men to prove their worth, to
mm,
prove their
mm,
quality. So I think this is something which is by way of a general comment. But let's look at international, environment insofar as women are concerned, whether their voices are heard or not. I mean, if you look at different countries, I think, and even within the United Nations,
yes,
some important positions are held by them,
mhm,
like UNSCAP, or let's say human resource, OCHA, and so many other, uh, for example, UNDP, etc. So women are holding important positions, and there are serious issues insofar as peace and security is concerned, development is concerned. And if you look at some of the Western countries and even Asian countries, I think
yes.
women have held very important positions, political
Mm.
positions.
Ji. Madam Fauzia, what has been your most positive and negative management experiences?
At the junior level, management issues are not so complex because you have your senior officers who basically are giving you support in dealing with administrative and personnel issues when
Mm,
at the start of your career. So that is not really all that difficult. Those matters can be easily sorted out. But
mm,
as you grow senior and hold senior positions
yes.
of management within a
Mhm,
mission or within the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, I think the question or problem of managing your day-to-day matters, official matters, personnel, and so on and so forth becomes a little difficult, I would say.
mhm,
And especially when I joined the service, and then as I became a senior officer,
mhm,
the problem was that there was the question of challenge to your authority, and there was a question of basically thinking that probably I am not very familiar with
mhm,
the issues and nuances and so on and so forth. But I think you need to then assert yourself and let the people working under you or for you know that you are one up insofar as your authority is concerned, as far as your knowledge is concerned, as far as your experience is concerned, and also the understanding of issues. And more importantly, because of your senior position, you should be having much more access to information that generally does not trickle down to the lower level. So I think that gives you a kind of a strength and security in position. And from that position of security and strength, one can assert oneself. So
Mhm.
this is, I think, something that you learn through adjustments and experience. But the most important thing, what I have learned, is to be able to get things done in a very cordial manner instead of being confrontational.
Great.
Right. And of course, when one is asserting oneself, the general trend is for people, for the male colleagues generally, to portray you as a difficult person, because I think women tend to be more serious insofar as their work is concerned. They want things to be delivered.
Yes.
They want things to be done in an organized manner,
Mhm.
in keeping with the requirements of the institution. So
Mhm.
I think there the problem arises insofar as other colleagues are concerned. But in any case, I think these are issues which probably will not be so relevant today,
Mhm.
because obviously the environment has changed. There are more women diplomats, and these young women diplomats are very capable, very knowledgeable. They're performing very well, and they're taken seriously. So I think from that point of view, I would say that I did face some negative issues insofar as management is concerned, but the positive aspect was that there was always support from the hierarchy of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, in recognizing, acknowledging your authority, and in allowing you to deal with matters in the best manner that one prefers. So it's a mix baggage, I would say, of positive and negatives, but one learns to handle these matters in the best interest of the institution, in the best interest of the organization that one is heading, and in your own personal's best interest. So I think this is something that you learn through
Great.
experience.
Great. And I think Rumana, Hena, and me, myself, we are so honored to know, for and to be able to pass this on to the upcoming younger girls who want to join diplomacy or foreign service, that how a mature, seasoned diplomat has handled um, the crisis, the conflict, and not getting confrontational with her management, lower management, and made her way through the senior position all along. So this can be actually your talk and your experiences that you are sharing with us can help a lot of South Asian country women. They can take guidance from your principles, your learning, your pathway, and the ones who are aspiring, the Pakistani women who are aspiring to join foreign service. I think these can be guiding principles for them as well. So, Romana, what question now you have for Madam?
जी मैम अगर थोड़ा सा और इसको एक्सप्लेन करें एज इन हाउ द presence of women in these diplomatic leadership roles inspire young women to go into fields like diplomacy related fields. If you can explain this and even guide young girls as to how to get into these fields, how to handle issues, how to diplomatic leadership उनको कैसे inspire कर रहे हैं.
Rekhi, I think if you look at different diplomatic services and foreign service of different countries,
जी
and particularly in the West, I think there's a lot of emphasis on a mentorship.
जी
Mentorship is very important, and of course, then displaying your leadership qualities. These are very important aspects of whatever position you are holding in whichever environment. So this is one thing, and I think what is important, as far as I'm concerned, is for the authorities to allow women to play their role and contribute to the decision making processes, and also to be able to show their leadership. And then achievements need to be acknowledged, they need to be projected, they need to be portrayed. Simply because if you just laud a woman sitting in an office doing an exceptional work, which I think a lot of us have done without getting due recognition and acknowledgement, it does not really give any information to the women who probably would like to join the foreign service or
true
diplomatic service. Because
true
unless and until you give them public exposure, you highlight their achievements and about the role that they have played and the contributions that they have made, I think the younger lot will not know what they have achieved. I really for example, I mean, you've had exceptional women in the West, I would say, simply because they've written their autobiographies as well. And they have been part
जी
of very sensitive security matters. And they have guided those discussions, and they have given their positive input or valuable input, allowing the governments to take those inputs into consideration and arrive at something which is valuable for the country itself. So I think this is how it should happen in the third world countries as well. I mean, I know. I mean, I don't know how many women diplomats have written autobiography in the developing world. I really don't know, but I think they should be encouraged to do so, simply because
जी
there's much that we can learn from their experience, from their inputs, and how they have handled their senior positions,
true
and what recommendations or suggestions would they have for the younger lot. It would help a lot, I think, if it is if it is done. I think we
जी
should encourage yeah, senior persons to do that. I mean, I can mention about one initiative that has been taken by one of our former senior retired ambassador, Atia Mahmood. She has basically requested all of us who have retired from service to just write a short kind of an essay or something about their experiences, what they have achieved in the service, and how what compelled them to be in the foreign service of Pakistan. Your own experiences,
true
light and good, and so I think if that publication comes out, it will have a good information about the experiences of different former female ambassadors, um, about their service, about their recommendations, about the challenges they confronted, and also the valuable and positive side of diplomatic service. The cultural interaction. You learn about so many diverse cultures, and you
जी
connect with local people, which I think allows you to become a much more tolerant and a much more a person with endurance. So
जी
I think the knowledge of different cultures and getting exposed to different cultures may come initially as a shock to some people, but then obviously you are there in that environment for a number of years. So I think that basically allows you to develop as a person.
There's another question for our audience and for the interest of gender empowerment and inclusivity. So, Madam Fauzia Nasreen, are there any countries or models you admire for their approach to gender inclusive diplomacy?
Yes, I mean, in the West, you will have 101 examples, but I have
Okay.
served in Malaysia.
Yeah.
I was a first secretary then,
Hmm.
and I was going from Pakistan to the Far East. Have had no experience at all. Kind of with a bit of reluctance. But when I arrived there, I think
Hmm.
it was such a enriching experience for me
Hmm.
because even in the 1980s, women in Malaysia were so emancipated. They basically were in every sector, every segment of work over there. They were politicians, they were academicians, they were business women, they were practically everywhere, doctors, engineers, and so on and so forth. So this was a kind of a very pleasant surprise for me, seeing women overwhelmingly taking part in the development of the country, in the growth of the country, contributing, and they were taken seriously by their male colleagues.
That's great.
I think they were participating on the basis of equality, so which was really wonderful. Seeing Malaysia, that experience was so exhilarating for me that I went on a trip to a state in the northern part of Malaysia,
Hmm.
Terengganu, and it was
Hmm.
a weekend. So
Hmm.
the officer who was attached with me, she said, "Let's take you around around Terengganu." So we went to a Saturday or Sunday market, and all the stalls were being managed by women.
That's that's
Obviously,
great.
they were,
That's a true
and
reflection of empowered
yeah,
woman. Yeah.
but my question was that how, because obviously it was a very naive question. I said, how come all these women are managing these stalls? Where are
Yeah.
your men? So
Yes.
then the explanation she gave me was so interesting and educative. She said
Mm.
that this state, basically, men are fishermen, and
Oh.
they normally would be away for 5 to 6 months out in the sea fishing. So
Mhm.
I mean, the affairs of this particular state was being managed by women. So you
That's
see how necessity
yes.
makes you much more, how would I say, forward looking insofar as
Invest. Yes.
role of women is concerned. So,
So,
I mean, that was really, Malaysia was an eye opener in the sense that how women were integrated, how women were accepted, how their role was, they played a very important role along with men in their society. So,
and now on a lighter note, we would because Hina must be counting the minutes, but we just don't feel like ending up with you. So, could you share an interesting story or event that left a lasting impression on you?
there are actually there are quite a few. There are quite
Yes.
a few, but I think probably the thing is that I've had postings that were very difficult and challenging as well. So, I mean, I am not going to talk about those, but I think one thing which was very impressive for me was in Australia.
Mhm.
I actually was in Australia for some time, And what happened was that the change of government took place in Australia, in Canberra, and there was a female politician who took over as prime minister. She then went to present whatever her, to meet the governor general of Australia, because of course they have governor general, to have a meeting with her, the inaugural meeting, the first meeting, just before commencing her work. So they were showing it on the TV when she was returning in a car to the Parliament House. There was a roundabout, and what happened was that there was a car. She was going straight, and there was a car coming from the right. So her car stopped, and then the traffic passed by, and then after that, on her turn, the car moved. So I, this was something so nice, in the sense that there were no, there was no disruption of traffic. There was, and the traffic rules were being followed even by the highest authority in the country. I think I wish we could have. I mean, we have security problems, and obviously protocols and security and this and that comes into play. But nevertheless, what a society Pakistan will have if all these things get streamlined and we come back to a normal way of life. So I
We
think
all desire.
so one is hoping for that, and inshallah, our people are going to realize their obligations and their duties towards the country and society. Now, I think there's more emphasis on obligations, what you want from the country. But I think probably along with that, along with your rights, you also have to pay attention to your duties. I think this is something which we need to learn as citizens of this country.
Great, great. So, if there is one good message that you think you want to give to the young women listening to us today and watching our podcast, what would that be?
I think a couple of things that,
Yes, please.
men should be considered as partners in
Mhm.
your development, in the development of the country, and partners in the work that you are doing. I think a healthy relationship between the women diplomats and male diplomats is something which gives a lot of value to the work that is being done by different ministries or countries, I would say. The second thing is that whatever you learn during your career, I think that you owe it to the society to give it back to them by getting re-engaged with the society and giving benefit to whatever you know about life and whatever you know about a lot of things that you have done in your professional life. For example, we don't pay much attention to volunteering. So volunteer work is something which is important, and I think people like us can also do a lot of social welfare work. I have got engaged with a school, and this is a purely girls' school, which is called Gosha Mashal, and they do multiple things. For example, education, vocational training, and medical camps, and so medical service, and so on and so forth. So, looking at that, I realize that what a wonderful thing it is to get engaged with such organizations, with such associations, and do your own little contribution by way of volunteer work. So I think this is what I have learned in my postings also. For example, in Poland, when I was there, the wife of the president was working for cancer among children. So she got
Mhm.
all the diplomatic community involved in it. Then in the less developed areas in their schools, they wanted to have free meal for the students who were studying in schools. So what happened was they basically got people to contribute one cow to the farm, and the milk and other products of that were then given to the children of those schools. So you see, there are so many things that one can learn and do even during your professional career, and I think one must give it back to the society. This is something that God, Allah wants us to do. So
This is so delightful discussion with you, Madam Fauzia Nasreen, because you have shared such beautiful experiences from Malaysia, Iran, Poland, Australia, and Nepal. There is so much that one person can do, and you have shared the real examples with our audience. And I think it's all about giving back to the society. And this is also, praising the Creator who has given us the strength while we are healthy and while we have something to give, no matter what. Even the example that you have shared about the cow, so we all have so much wealth in terms of our whatever we can give through our hands, through our through our speech, words, through holding each other. So there is a lot that can be done to make a society better, and I hope and I pray, as you have said, that this is essential and we all must put our contribution. We must give back to the society.
There's still a lot we can ask because, as you
Yes.
said, ma'am's words are so much knowledge, words of wisdom that we have learned so much today. I think this will be great help for people who are already in this field and women, even men alike, who are planning to come into this field. And women empowerment, such an important topic, something that has been so well explained by ma'am today. Lots of misconceptions, clarifications, everything has been, put so beautifully. Just want to thank her so much. As she said, men, women, all are have to work as equal partners. I think that is one takeaway from what ma'am has said. I think that is something I'd like to remember. Beautiful words, ma'am. Thank you so much.
thank you.
Ji, Madam, do you have anything other than this to add in our conversation? Please do so.
Well, I think probably there was a question about women mostly opting for soft assignments.
Yes, yes.
I think this is a misconception, really. I
Mm.
mean, it used to happen some maybe a decade ago or a couple of decades ago. But now I think the circumstances have changed completely. Women want to get challenging assignments because they want to show that they are capable of competing on an equal footing with men. So I think this has changed. The second thing is that the environment has become such that a soft posting supposedly can become a hard posting if there's a very serious crisis that occurs in that country. This is what I learned insofar as Iran is concerned. I was sent there during a peaceful time. Women were emancipated, the society was peaceful, it was stable, but then all of a sudden everything changed. So there's, I think this concept of soft posting is becoming irrelevant now. This is what I would like to add. Thank you.
Great. So, so viewers and listeners, it was great to have Madam Fauzia Nasreen with us today at We Matter. We hope that you have enjoyed as much listening to her, and you would definitely get back to us to ask her for more, uh, of her journey in the diplomacy and in her missions abroad. So, as we conclude this enlightening conversation with Madam Fauzia Nasreen, we are reminded that diplomacy is not just about borders and treaties. It's about people, inclusion, and the courage to lead with empathy. And we see that women, if they are empowered, they can give us the best solutions. So, and Madam Fauzia Nasreen's voice actually echoes all that. So I hope we all have enjoyed. And thank you once again, Madam, for joining us. We are very, very honored that you took time for us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Musarat and Romana, and of course Hina, for the technical support that she has provided in making
Yes,
this interaction
Yes.
possible. Thank you, and I
Definitely.
enjoyed it thoroughly. Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much. Thank you.